You know when it's definitely autumn and winter because the knits come out. Look at this one. Can't wait to show it to you. Hello, welcome back. Good to see you all again. Stuart here from my shop, the Woolpatch, a yarn fabric haberdashery shop here in Long Melford, Suffolk, UK. And I'm coming to you in colour vision. Look at this, the first knit of the season. If you saw last season, season 2, when I was in the potting shed when we were all stuck at home, each episode I had a knit to show off to you, and it was some sort of jumper or garment, and it was whether it was knitted by me or by some of my fabulous ladies here at the shop, Irene or Mandy. I normally showed off some garment because it's just nice to be able to talk about a garment, a pattern, and maybe what wool goes with it. And we did that every episode, and it's just, I thought, let's continue it on. So it is cold enough to crack out the knitted wear. This is Sal. It's a ribbed raglan jumper, and you're gonna love it. Isn't it great? And a brilliant fit. Now, I saw this pattern when I got in ColourLab because it's knitted in that lovely new yarn from the West Yorkshire Spinners that we talked about in episode 1 of season 3. And it came with a pattern book. I can put the link in the description below. Some great jumpers, and as I was flicking through, I saw Sal. Well, that's what they call it, Sal. Now, I think it's using the current in thing at the moment, which is the slip stitch. I thought that would be great for the vlog, but I thought, I'm not going to do it in those colours. I want to be different. And I just thought, it's got to be zesty orange and Technicolor. It's kind of like my pride jumper. I don't often do things like that, but I thought, yes, that would be an awesome pride jumper. And hasn't it just turned out really well? I didn't knit this. I gave it to Irene and said, oh, this will be a fun knit to do for the vlog. And she went, oh, yes, please, Stuart. So I gave her the yarn. And she loved knitting it, but the only issue she said that was a bit of a nightmare, because you've got 2 colours still. You've got your under colour and then the slip stitch colour. All goes well until you get the same colour, orange on the slip stitch colour and orange there. So, because you need 2 yarns going, and a couple of times I think Irene saw, but it's a great pattern. Now let's give you some details on what the size is I'm wearing. So I went for, let's show you, I went for medium, 40 to 42 inch chest. I'm a 40-inch chest, so let's have a look at what Irene used. She always keeps her labels and takes notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So she did indeed use 6 of the orange, but look, that was the 6th ball. She said she just broke into it, which was kind of annoying, really. So you do need 6, but you're going to have some left over. And the same with the slip stitch. Pattern said 2. You do indeed use 2, but you've got, what, half a ball left over there. So not too bad. But it's a lovely knit and it's incredibly warm. And I've got nothing on underneath. And it is not itchy at all on the skin. I find it very comfortable, but I know all our skins are different, aren't we? And people have different tolerances. There we are. So that's the Sal Ribbed Raglan Jumper by Chloe Elizabeth Birch for the West Yorkshire Spinners.
What I am trying to do, what I am trying to do, what I am trying to do is say I love you.
So it really is getting into autumn and winter here at the shop because even more yarn is arriving. Remember at the end of last episode, I gave out a little sneak sort of what's coming from Rowan. They were about to launch a brand new yarn. Well, yes, October the 1st came, and you'll be watching this shortly after October the 1st, so I can show it to you, so I can now talk to you all about it. A brand new Rowan yarn called So basically 2 yarns which we always used to use, felted tweed and Kid Silk Haze. And it's like those 2 yarns being spun together, and that is what you get. So rather than having 2 strands, you are getting the one. So you've got the Kid Silk fluff halo effect, and you've also got the tweed from the felted tweed effect. Right, come in, Peggy. Let's get you a bit closer. And I know when people start to knit, we say, oh, do a scarf. But actually, it does work. It's garter stitch, so you just practice and practice your knit. So this is a great starting project. It's the only, I suppose, comment when Irene was knitting it up, because she knitted it up for the shop, and I said to her to take notes to feedback on what you thought. She loved the yarn, but she says you do have to concentrate that you go under the stitch because of the very nature of the yarn. It's not going to load it, is it? It's going to. Oh, there we are. You can see it's. You can see the main thread at the back there and the fuzz around it, but there may be occasions where there's no fuzz at all, and it's just the black thread. It does happen due to the nature of the yarn. So you just got to make sure your needle slips under. So you do have to concentrate a fair bit, but otherwise it is just the knit stitch. It's just knit, 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 front and back. And it's fabulous, really, really nice. And if you like your scarves long, this is really long. This is just over, thanks Peggy, this is just over 2 meters. Now the pattern does say 4 balls. You don't need 4 balls. I think this was a printing error because I confirmed that when they were asking me for details on how we got on with knitting it up. It uses 3 balls, and it uses all of the 3 balls. So I think they're going to put an amendment in on their website and say, so it is 3 balls to get that full length, which is 2 meters and 10 centimeters. You just have to watch when you're getting towards the end that you leave enough for a cast off and then to sew in, but there isn't anything left. The 4th ball, if you do buy 4 balls, you will have enough left for obviously to make a beanie, and I have got that beanie somewhere. Oh, there it is. Pop that on there, and that was just a simple garter stitch beanie. So out in all good wool shops now. There we are. Thanks, Peggy. Brilliant. Right. A fun feature for you is Guess the Year. Yes. And one person got it right. It's just a bit of fun. And it went down well. So here we go again. So take a look and see if you can guess the year. And we'll give you the results at the end of the show. White. Could be any year then, couldn't it? Because it could be purposely black and white, so you don't know which year. Woo! What do you think? I'm going to go 83. What's your guess? Good show. Right, you also know it's autumn and winter when the Christmas fabric starts to arrive. Yes, well, ours is when did ours? Should have come to us in March, but sadly it didn't come to us till August. But yes, Christmas this year in the Woolpatch is Scandinavian inspired. It's from Macau and it's called Scandi, and it's all reds and greys, and it's absolutely wonderful. Love it. And better still, I got a fabulous local patchwork quilter, Judith, to make something for the shop. I gave her all the fabric when it arrived, and I said, come on, let's make a fabulous table runner. And she was very much inspired by the work of Jordan Fabrics, so it's based on a free pattern. I'll put all the details in the link below, but take a look at what Judith made for the shop. And it's now pride of place in the window for a short while, showing it all off to everyone. But for you lot, take a look at this. Isn't it fabulous? It's a stunning range, but it just looks even more gorgeous. phenomenal patchwork. Judith, your skills are incredible. And wonderful binding. I have great chats with Judith when she comes in because of her patchworking skills. And one of them was talking about binding and which favoured widths to use. And that one is a 3-inch. I think it was a 3-inch, yes. So a much wider binding you would get than with a 2.5-inch strip. So I'm going to cut mine at 3 inches, I think, next time. Have a nice wider binding. It just looks well. It looks wonderful. I love binding anyway. But it's fabulous, and the quilting there with the metallic thread. Oh, great. So that's going to be in the window for a couple of weeks before something else goes in, and it's just nice because it shows off the fabric range. And here it is. So I'll show it to you and a bit more close up. Oh, isn't it great? So these are the grey colours. The deer, dancing reindeer, snowflakes, scroll, ornate scrolls. Then, I love this one. This is Christmas trees. And then the wonderful stars, which could be any time of year, really, if you were making something. But the metallic does give it that Christmas. So that's the grey range. It looks fabulous when you see it like that, doesn't it? It looks stunning. And then the red range. And it's the reds which are truly Scandi. You have the feature fabric, which is beautiful. This is where Judith's skills were great, because if you noticed on each one of those North Stars, the block that's repeated over and over again, the middle bit, Judith fussy cutted which bit to be in the middle of the square. So that's the focus fabric. It's beautiful. And then we have the reds. So we've got the red reindeer, red trees, red scroll, and red stars. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And each year in the Woolpatch I choose a different collection, and I have been a fan of the Scandi, Macawa Scandi. I think this might be the third or even the fourth version of Scandi from Macawa, because it's obviously very popular. They bring it back with tweaked designs and features, but I've never had the Scandi in at the Woolpatch, so I thought about time. And it's nice to have a different collection every year. So it'll be cool to see how well the Scandi does, and whether it flies out the window. For those who are interested in Christmas fabrics and shopping at the Woolpatch, all Christmas fabrics from last year and the year before that, they've all got money off, 30% off. Just because it just didn't sell. Most of the bolts have sold from the range last year, which was Festive Yuletide. The year before was Skogan from Dashwood. That was lovely. That was Scandinavian, but it was turquoises and navies and teals. It was beautiful. But it's hard to judge how popular something is going to be. Do you get 10 bolts? Do you get 5 bolts? It's the hardest part of the job. Macawa is easier to choose because they only have 5 meters on the bolt. So I can buy 5 meters and I can buy a bigger range because it's cheaper for me. So I can get more on the shelf so we can see more for the price. When I bought the Skogan one, I had to buy 10 meters because it's a different company and different companies have different rules. So I could only have 5 or 6 bolts of that, not as many, because you've got 10 meters and 10 meters fills up quite a lot on the shelf. So I think on that range, I've got a fair few meters left. So I'm fed up of looking at Christmas from last year and the year before. So if you want a bargain, 30% off, then go for it. And if you're still watching, you can have an even more of a treat. You can put in YouTube in the checkout and you'll get free shipping. That's just for you because you're still sat here listening to me talking. I'm not even going to put it in the description, so it's not going to be obvious. It's going to be for those people who are still listening and who haven't skipped through. So good on you for listening still. Here, I'll put free shipping, YouTube in the checkout, and you'll get free shipping. So you'll get even more money off. Remember, our postal system works simply two prices: first class and second class, regardless of the weight, because most of the postal systems around here are done on weight. So if you buy lots of fabric, technically it'll probably end up being about £8 or £9 shipping because fabric is quite heavy. But no, you'll either pay first class, which is £4.40, I think, something like that, or second class, which I think is £3.80. It's a little bit more because I use the paper recyclable compostable bags, and would you believe they are 50p each to buy. But I think you, the consumer, appreciate that and understand those costs, and as far as I've heard feedback, you are happy to pay that 50p on your shipping. So it's first class, which for a standard parcel for Royal Mail is £3.80, so then 50p added on. Yeah, that's about right, isn't it? Finished to make for you. Well, not me, Irene. We've been planning obviously these future shows, so I've been giving her lots of knits to do, so we have lots of things to talk about, because if I was knitting it, I would still be on row 4. Here we go. Look at this. A lovely scarf that I'm going to do as a kit. There, perfect length for wearing it just like that. This is called the Zick Zack Scarf by Christy Kamm. Isn't that fabulous? The Zick Zack Scarf. Beautiful. It's done with stunning new yarn from Lang. And I talked to you about this before, didn't I? That we were getting more yarns in from Lang. And it's done with 2 balls, 4 in total, but each dear little row, the front and back, is done with 1 strand from 1 ball, and then the next strand is done with the other ball. It uses Mill Calorie Baby. Now, remember back on last episode, the Crochet Extravaganza episode, I was using Mill Calorie Big, which was like a, well, it was like an Aran or even a chunky weight version. This is a 4-ply. and it's the same. So if you go back and look at the last episode 2, which is where we talked about and I showed off the big version, you can see how similar it is. It's a roving yarn, or a single, a merino single, and it is 100% merino wool, and it is just beautifully soft. So it takes 4 balls, 2 and 2 in total to get that length. If you wanted it longer, then another 2 balls. But I think that is just enough for a gift, perfect for a gift. So we're going to do it as a kit, so you'll be able to buy it as a kit. It's a free pattern which you can get from Ravelry, and it's just stunning. And as I say, if you were only using 1 ball, so say that, if you were to knit, you would get a big section in purple, and then it would ombre into a big section of yellow. So here, those, say for example, I'll try and zoom in on this in a minute. If those 4 stitches there, those 4 rows of zigzag, it would have been all pink or all purple. But because you interchange with the second ball, the other colour, it interrupts that. So here you've got pink, but we've gone to the other ball to have purple for 2 rows, and then we've gone back to the pink again because we've broken it up. So it actually looks like you've done some spectacular colour work. That you've gone, oh, let's do a bit of pink now. Change yarn, oh, let's do a bit of purple. Oh, let's do a bit of pale blue. But you haven't. So clever thinking. It wasn't my idea to use those 2 colours. It was a fabulous rep who told me about Lang Yarns. So a full big huge shout out to Vanessa, who has her own yarn shop, which made her an even better rep. So that's a finished garment. Well, that's 2 finished garments. Actually that's 3 finished garments. We've got the sow, we've got the zigzag, and we've got the squall. So 3 finished garments for us. So let's now take a look at your finished garments from you in the gallery. If you are posting a picture of your finished object on Instagram, if you could just add our hashtag, the Woolpatch, to your list of hashtags, that could just add us to the bottom, that would be great, and I can find it. If not, as I say, you can email me to the address below, or you can DM me on Instagram, and I can add it to the next gallery. It would be lovely to see. Wow, what a gallery, as always, stunning. But what about those 2 finished Alaska rainbow quilts? Remember I did it as a quilt along with Fibre Hustle in the summer. Well, Fizz, your variation on Alaska rainbow with that grey fade was stunning. And what about Rob's finished one? All quilted and beautiful and hung up on the wall too. Stunning, absolutely stunning. But I'm still amazed with Fizz. That's her second version. She did the colour version and then that fade grey version. Stunning. As always, I love the gallery and seeing what you make. And from our point of view, from watching it, it's great because we get to see what patterns they are or what wool you used. And it's lovely how you're including that detail when you post. Right then, let's try and guess the year. Let's have a look. I think it's 80s. I think it's like a James Bond. He is sort of doing that, isn't he? Yeah, suave, sophisticated. Perhaps it was inspired by a film, Octopussy, or was that 70s? Yeah, I'm going to go for 82 then. Right, the year is 1966. Vintage year. I was miles out. Did you get it right? Hands up. Not bad at all. If you didn't, well, there's always going to be next show, next vlog, next time. Look what I've got. My version of Moorit has arrived. It's fabulous. And also, what I'm quite chuffed about is at the back where it says the thank yous for all the Kickstarters. There's my name. So it says the first issue of Moorit wouldn't have been possible without the support of many people, including the generous financial backing of over 600 individuals to the Kickstarter campaign. Very proud to be one of those 600. Brilliant. And I am going to... This is me now, not Irene. I am going to have decided... Where is it? I was liking Sivu or High Wire. Well, I am going to do High Wire. Isn't that fabulous? If you love crochet, you must have a look at Zach Stout's podcast. He is a fabulous crocheter. Unbelievable. He has done one of this is Stephanie Erin who has designed that, and you can kind of see if you know Stephanie Erin's work, very much an auteur of the crochet world, so you would know that's a Stephanie Erin, and when I saw it I thought I have seen that somewhere, and it was Zach. He had crocheted one of her jumpers with rather than it being chevrons, they've got stars all on the yoke. It's fabulous. But he has his own podcast and he is wonderful, and the work that he does with his crochet is stunning. So if you're a crochet fan and you like podcasts, then go and check out Zach. And if you do, say hi in the comments and say the Woolpatch sent you. That's always nice to know. But yes, if you want a Moorit and you haven't got your copy, give us an email and I can order more. Our 5 that I got have all gone. Many of you watched the last episode and emailed me and said, oh, save me a copy. Brilliant, I did that. Margaret, you've got yours. Diane, you've got yours, to name 2. Fabulous, and they're loving it too. So keep your eye out for that. Wow. Whew, that's half hour done. That's the show over with again. That's episode 3 of the Woolpatch show. Boom, done and dusted and in the can. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, We love hearing your thoughts and your comments, so get writing below. What do you think of the jumpers? What do you think of the scarves and the colours and the Christmas fabric and Judith's work? We just love talking about all things, knitting, crocheting, patchwork and sewing. In the meantime, happy knitting, happy sewing, happy crocheting, happy crafting everyone, and we'll see you on the next show. Bye.